What's up guys, Aaron here, back with another video. In today's video we're going to be doing the full review of the 42mm Space Gray Apple Watch Sport. Welcome back everyone, and before we get into the review portion of the video, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Apple Watch Sport itself. First off, the Apple Watch Sport comes with a fluoroelastomer band, which is extremely comfortable in my opinion. It has a very nice soft matte finish to it. It has basically no texture to it other than matte. On the top of the band is a cutout and a section for you to slide the remaining section of the band that doesn't fit on your wrist into, which hides it very nicely. Now there's a button at the immediate top of the watch, and that's where you're going to place it into the hole and size it to your wrist. Once again, the cutout in the band is for the remaining portion of the band that you do not use. On the lower section of the band you have 7 holes to choose your specific size. This is the 42mm display, and it also is the space gray casing. The Apple Watch Sport's display is built on Ion-X technology and is considered a flexible retina display. On the right side of the device is where we'll find our digital crown as well as our side button or friends button. Now the back of the fluoroelastomer band states whether you have a 38 or 42mm, and the bottom portion of the band states whether you have a small, medium, or large band. We have our speaker as well as our microphone. And we also have a button here and a button here that's going to help to detach the bands. Now the bands on every version of the Apple Watch are interchangeable. As you can see, we have 2 separate buttons here, and those are going to be the release buttons for the bands itself. Now in the back housing of the Apple Watch is where we get our heart rate sensor, and it also gives us a little bit more specific information such as our specific model as well as our serial number. Now that we've taken a closer look at the Apple Watch itself, let's go ahead and start off the full review. I'm going to first start off with the things that I don't like about the watch, and then we'll get into the things that I do like. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I don't like is the price. Now, there's 2 different size Apple Watch casings available as well as 3 different Apple Watch models. The 2 different size casings are 38mm and 42mm, and the 3 different models are the entry-level Apple Watch Sport, Apple Watch, and the Apple Watch Edition. Now to get the entry-level model at the cheapest price, you'll need to get the Apple Watch Sport with a 38mm casing, which comes in anodized aluminum and will cost you $349. Now you can add $50 more to that if you want to get the 42mm casing. Now moving on to the mid-tier version watch, we have the Apple Watch, which has a stainless steel casing with a sapphire crystal display, and also comes in a 38 or 42mm, and has an entry-level price of $549 for a 38mm casing. And lastly is the Apple Watch Edition, which comes in both a 38 or a 42mm 18-karat solid yellow gold or solid rose gold casing, and starts at $10,000 and goes as high as $17,000 depending on the band that you pick. Now one thing that I think most people who have enough money to purchase the Apple Watch Edition are not thinking about is that the software will be absolutely obsolete in a few years, which will basically render the device useless. Now you could always make the argument that anyone who spends $10,000 to $17,000 on a watch probably has enough money to say so what. However, I think it's a poor purchase decision based on common investment knowledge. I think both the Apple Watch and the Apple Watch Sport are going to be the practical decisions out of the 3. The next thing that I don't like is the fluoroelastomer band. Now I say that I don't like this, but it's more of the fact that I know that there's more better bands available, such as the leather loop. Now I also understand that fluoroelastomer is a good choice for a band in terms of exercising and activity, which is technically what the sport model is intended for. However, the bands are interchangeable, and there's definitely some better band options out there than the fluoroelastomer band that comes natively. Now I'm personally going to be getting the classic band, the leather loop, and I'm also going to be picking up the Milanese loop, which has a stainless steel polished pin that might look a little weird with the space gray casing. However, I'm not worried about it. I'm more interested in finding the most comfortable band. Now, although I'm not a big fan of the fluoroelastomer band, I'd still wear it. It's pretty comfortable. However, I'm not too sure how long the fluoroelastomer holes will be able to hold up without ripping after taking the watch on and off for months. The next thing that I don't like is the online ordering only process. Apple's not only implemented this for the new Apple Watch, but also for the new MacBook ordering process. I would have liked to see the Apple Watch actually hit stores on April 24th. However, even one of the company's biggest tech merchandise retailers, Best Buy, didn't even have any in the store. Now, Apple stated that they wanted to avoid the long lines of people that line up in anticipation of the product release, and also avoid the people that are buying the product just to resell it on the black market or even on the internet. The next thing that I don't like is that I have to check the watch to receive notifications instead of them immediately alerting me and lighting up the screen. The majority of the native apps will alert you immediately, such as incoming calls or a text message. However, such alerts as Instagram and email I've been having to manually check. Now, after doing some research, I found out that Instagram can't physically alert you like a text message because Instagram doesn't even do that on your phone. It only shows up on your device without sending an actual audio alert. Now, the email definitely should be doing this in my opinion. However, this could easily be fixed in a future update. The The next thing that I don't like is the size of the screen. The screen is 42 millimeters, however I find it slightly cumbersome to move about the display. I definitely see why Apple adopted the digital crown to help with scrolling. Now I've gotten used to the 2-inch display on the Gear S, which is technically the phablet of smartwatches. Now I think Apple should have made the 42 millimeter the smaller option and should have made a larger display option. However, I am able to scroll through the Apple Watch's different options with my finger, but I would like to have seen a larger screen option. Now that we've covered the things that I don't like about the Apple Watch Sport, let's go ahead and get into the things that I do like. The first thing that I like is the display quality. Now the Apple Watch Sport has a 42mm or a 38mm casing and comes with the Ion X display with an oleophobic coating, Super AMOLED display which is known for its deep blacks and rich colors, as well as a superb display quality in outdoor situations. The display is extremely crisp and equally responsive. Your finger just easily slides across the screen and the rounded edges look absolutely beautiful. Now the next thing that I like is the battery life. Now Apple states that you can expect to get 18 hours of battery life, and I'd have to agree with that. I've been using the Apple Watch Sport for around a week now, and I've never run out of battery during the day. However, I do have to charge it nightly, which I don't have a problem with. I just don't want the watch to die throughout the day when I'm at work or not around an electrical socket. The next thing that I like is the build quality. Now all versions of the Apple Watch have an excellent build quality, even the entry-level Apple Watch Sport. Everything from the band, the screen, and the casing are all designed with precise attention to detail. The Apple Watch Sport is water resistant, and one of the biggest features that most other smartwatch manufacturers totally overlooked was the ability to easily swap out bands. Now a lot of current smartwatches do give you the option to change the band, however most have a pin system that is so difficult of a task to complete without either breaking the band or losing the pin, that even if the watch does offer the ability to change out the band, 9 times out of 10 the user will choose not to. Now Apple on the other hand learned from the other manufacturer's mistake and heavily focused on the simplicity of swapping out the different bands. Located on the rear casing of the Apple Watch are the 2 buttons that I mentioned earlier that when pressed let you easily slide out both sections of the band. Reinstalling a new band is just as simple as sliding the new band into the grooves, into the casing, and they'll automatically click into place, making changing the bands extremely simplistic. Now along with the simplicity factor also comes many color options as well as material options. Apple provides bands for the Apple Watch in fluoroelastomer, leather, and polished steel, and any band will fit as long as it's the same size. So for instance, if you have a 38mm watch, it is compatible with all 38mm bands, and if you have a 42mm watch, it's compatible with all 42mm bands. The next thing that I like is the OS and the UI. The Apple Watch has a new user interface that takes a little more time to get used to. However, I like that due to the fact that I haven't been able to try a different user interface from Apple since the introduction of the iPhone. Now the watch is pretty snappy and is running Apple's new S1 chip. Now the first screen that you're presented with when you turn the watch on is the actual watch face itself. Now only after pressing the digital crown and unlocking the device will you be presented with the app selection screen. Siri has been greatly improved and works almost as good as Google now. Basic dictation has been improved as well, being able to easily detect more words and display them in a swift yet accurate manner. The watch's display automatically turns on when it senses that you're wanting to look at the display. And something else that I noticed is that it actually turns off when it notices that you're not looking at the display anymore. Now that's a great feature to help ensure the longest lasting battery life possible. Some of the main things that I like about the Apple Watch Sport is the beautiful flexible retina display that also features Force Touch, and also the Taptic engine included in the casing is an excellent idea, as your wrist is the perfect spot to get haptic feedback, alerting you of an incoming notification without disturbing anyone around you. Another great feature that I'm enjoying is using Apple Pay. However, it's slightly awkward and a little frightening having to actually touch the terminal with your Apple Watch, and it could definitely cause scratching in time. To date, Apple has 3,500 compatible apps for the Apple Watch, and that number continues to grow daily. Now, the main purpose of a smartwatch is to deliver notifications and also the ability to accomplish meaningful tasks via the applications on the smartwatch. And I think this is where most other smartwatch manufacturers drop the ball, and that is when they release their smartwatch, they focus heavily on the build quality and also on advertising the device instead of focusing on quality and beneficial applications to add to their catalog. Now, something else that's extremely interesting is that Apple chose to go with the AMOLED screen on this device. Now, that's a perfect choice for a wearable device, and this is the first product ever from Apple to feature an AMOLED display. And in my opinion, it's made for an excellent display even in outdoor conditions. Now, the next thing that I like about the watch is the weight. Now, the Apple Watch feels extremely well built and like a solid device, however it only weighs around 30 grams. Now to put that into perspective, the Samsung Gear S smartwatch weighs more than double the Apple Watch at 67 grams. The Moto 360 weighs 49 grams with a leather band, the Pebble Steel 56 grams, the LG G Watch R is 62 grams, the Asus ZenWatch 75 grams, and and the Sony Smartwatch 3 comes in at 45 grams. Now with that being said, I'd have to say that the Apple Watch feels extremely excellent on your wrist, not feeling too light nor too heavy. The next thing that I like is the packaging and included accessories. Now the Apple Watch comes in 3 different models and comes in 3 different style packaging. The Apple Watch Sport comes with an included rectangular white hardshell case with the Apple Watch laying down inside of it, and included with each version of the Apple Watch is an inductive MagSafe charger that magnetically connects to the rear portion of the Apple Watch. Now taking a closer look at that inductive MagSafe charger, you can see that one side is concaved, and that side is the side that's going to fit onto the back of the Apple Watch, and one side is completely flat. That's going to be to lay on the surface. Now in my opinion, it's a very elegant way to charge the watch, and the magnets work great. Now as you can see on the Apple Watch Sport, the included MagSafe and inductive charger is completely plastic. However, on the Apple Watch and the Apple Watch Edition, you get a very nice metal lining around the charger. Apple doesn't include a full secondary band. All they do is include a second smaller section of the bottom portion of the band, which makes sense. Now taking a closer look at the operating system, we can either press the digital crown, or you can raise the watch towards your face if you have it on your wrist to wake it up. Now certain watch faces are customizable with the ability to add many information widgets with different style and types of information. Now if you have a passcode lock on your watch, at this time you'll be asked to enter it. Now once you've unlocked it, all you need to do is simply press the digital crown to enter the main app selection screen. Now jumping back to our main watch face, now from here we can swipe up from the bottom of the screen to access glances, which are the apps that we use most often, and in which case you can tap on the widget or badge and can be taken to the application straight from here. Now as we scroll around, we can see we have different applications loaded here on our glances. You can also swipe down from the top of the screen, which gives you access to your missed notifications, and which gives you a primary visual alert with a red dot. You can also push and hold down the digital crown to access Siri. Hey Siri, what's the tallest building in the United States? And in this particular case, it gives me the information on my iPhone. Now as you can see, we have a red dot at the top of the screen, and it is to notify us that we have a missed notification. Now there's also another button located underneath the digital crown that allows you to quickly access your friends. Now as you can see, I just got a notification come in from my wife asking if I'm busy. Now I can easily reply with some of the pre-installed reply options, or I have the option to hit the microphone, which will let me reply with dictation, or I can reply with an emoji. The screen is incredibly responsive, and all you have to do is search for the application that you want to open, bring it towards the center of the screen, and then tap on it. Now once again, the screen is incredibly responsive, and the watch in general has little to no lag. Some of the extremely useful features that I've found with the Apple Watch so far is in GPS, as well as using Siri. The digital crown is definitely an awesome feature. I found Apple Pay to be pretty cool and Force Touch to be pretty useful as well. And the Apple Watch does exactly what it should, and that is deliver notification alerts. Now in order to use the Apple Watch, you're going to need to use the main companion application that's on your iPhone, which is where you're going to access the main core functionalities of your Apple Watch. So we're taking a closer look at the Apple Watch application, which is mandatory for the Apple Watch to work, and is also the source for pairing your Apple Watch with your iPhone. Now there's 4 main sections located at the bottom of the first screen that you're greeted with the options being My Watch, Explorer, Featured, and Search. Now concentrating on the first option, which is My Watch, we can see that there's going to be a main section to access the majority of the features on the Apple Watch. So right now we're in the My Watch category out of the 4 main categories. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at our first option, which is App Layout. Now here you can rearrange the order of your apps that show up in your app selection screen. Next is Airplane Mode. Now here you can turn on Mirror iPhone, which will turn your Apple Watch into airplane mode. The next section is Apple Watch. Now this section shows you information on your specific watch and allows you to unpair it if you need to. Next is Notifications, and here we can control which notification alerts we receive, and the first option gives you the ability to be notified of your missed notifications via a small red button at the top of the screen. Next is Notification Privacy, and when that's enabled, notification details will only appear when you tap on the alert. When pressing the side arrow for apps that are already installed, such as Activity, you're presented with the option to turn off or on the specific functions of the app, such as the ability to turn off and on stand reminders, goal completions, achievements, and the weekly summary. Next is Glances, and Glances gives you the option to add these specific things on the screen to your Apple Watch, where then you can simply check them easily on your Apple Watch. Now Do Not Disturb is pretty self-explanatory. It gives you the option to not be disturbed on your watch, and by turning this feature on your watch, it automatically gets turned on your phone. Next is General. Now in General, we have an About section that displays the device's information, such as your remaining memory, what version operating system you're running, as well as your device serial number. Next is Software Update, which lets you check for a new software update and will also be the spot where you update your watch in the future. Next is automatic downloads, which when enabled downloads any new applications that you download to your iPhone to your watch as long as they're compatible. Next is watch orientation, and it is whether you want to use the watch on your left or right wrist. Next is accessibility, which gives you the option to change the zoom and text boldness. Moving along is language and region, which is self-explanatory. Next is Apple ID, which is which Apple ID is connected to your Apple Watch. And we also have the option to turn on or off handoff and wrist detection, which brings us to the next option, and that is activate on your wrist, which allows you to either view your watch face or view the last thing that you were looking at when you turned your watch off. Usage tells you how much time you've spent on a specific app, and reset lets you reset all the Apple Watch data on your watch. Next is brightness and text size, which allows you to adjust the brightness of the Apple Watch's display, adjust the text size, and even enable bold text. Next is sound and haptics. Now here we can adjust our volume, completely mute the watch, and you can also adjust how strong of the haptic vibration you want to receive. And you also have the option to enable cover to mute, which allows you to silence an incoming call or text message just by covering the screen. And lastly, if you want to maximize the amount of haptic feedback you receive, then you can enable prominent haptic. Next is passcode. And here you'll be asked to enter your passcode on your Apple Watch to even view this screen, which is an awesome security feature. After you do so, you have the option to turn on or off your passcode lock. You can change your passcode, and you also have the option to completely erase the Apple Watch's data, which is why it's security protected. The next option is health, where you can enter your personal information such as your birth date, your height, and your weight, followed by privacy, which allows you to allow or deny access to your heart rate for fitness. Now I wanted to cover these specific applications with you, however each application has a ton of options. Now if we move to the next option located on the bottom menu, we have Explore. Now, this is all the videos and tutorials that Apple has made on the Apple Watch that they've embedded here into the Apple Watch application in hopes to help you out in learning the functionality of the watch. Now the next tab is Featured. The Featured section on the Apple Watch application is the same as the Featured section for the App Store on the iPhone, which is where you're going to access the App Store for the Apple Watch, and which currently at the time of filming this video has 3,500 compatible apps. And our last option located down at the bottom is Search, and Search will allow us to look for specific applications. I'm giving away an Apple Watch and an Apple Watch Sport. If you missed that video, I will have it linked down below. If you have any questions about the Apple Watch Sport, leave them down in the comments section below. However, if you would like to ensure that your question gets answered, you can reach me at Twitter, Instagram, and on Periscope, and I'm at ReviewTheBest on all 3 platforms. Anyways guys, that's going to do it for me in this video. I highly recommend the 42mm Apple Watch Sport to everyone out there. Currently it is my favorite smartwatch, and I'm extremely interested to see what Apple does in the next version. Anyways guys, that's going to do it for me in this video. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, now's a great time to hit that subscribe button, and you will be notified in your inbox every time I upload a new video. Don't forget to drop a like down below and leave a comment down in the comments section. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you guys for watching. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Aaron, and I'll see you guys on the next one.